They say violence never solves anything. It sure is fun. Man, look at this. Oh, I love these things.
18杆挨菜，30枚7、9式手来，都武装营加枪牌了吧？你他妈怎么救我们啊？Wolf Warrior。男人就该玩这个。
Aloha! This is Trinidad, your island man, coming to you live once again from beautiful Oahu, here in Hawaii, bringing you the best movie reviews on the entire island of Oahu. And yes, this is Trinidad, the island man, your island man. And today, Thursday, what is this? Thursday the 4th. I have went ahead and seen a movie called Wolf Warriors Part 2. Now, this is a Chinese movie. It opened actually last week in China, where it did $140 million opening only in China. So now the domestic over here, the domestic opening was not very high. There's no numbers for it yet, but it's been over at the theater for about a week, and there's been kind of a strong push for this movie. I did see it over at the Dole Theater by the Dole Cannery, that Regal, but it is also over at the Pearl Ridge Mall, where normally these Chinese movies only strictly play. And then only if they're big do they make it over to Dole later on. But this one opened up both at Dole and at Pearl City. Pearl City, Pearl Ridge, so go ahead and check it out. Remember our rating scale? Shaka thumbs up. It's good to see, I recommend it. Shaka thumbs down. It's bad to see, it's junk, I don't recommend it. I have to say, overall, it's a shaka thumbs up for Wolf Warriors 2. Like I said, I grew up in the 80s. I saw all these crazy, corny action movies with Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, a whole bunch of other crazy movies, Jean-Claude Damme, and I greatly enjoyed all of them throughout the years. And let me just say that I am happy to say that, yes, this was a very enjoyable movie on the action front. And in fact, I would recommend it stronger and more so than maybe, Atomic Blonde, oddly enough. Now, let me just also say that, it stars Chinese action star, Wu Jing. And I've never seen him in anything else, but I'm sure he's pretty big, and he was also in Part 1, apparently. And he'll be in Part 3. He's an action-oriented movie, and that's the best way I can describe it. Well along into the lines of like Rambo 2, Commando, even a little bit of Universal Soldier, touching upon a little bit of that 90s movie with Bruce Willis called Tears of the Sun. And now this was a movie called Wolf Warriors Part 2. Now, I never saw Part 1, and at the end of this movie, they do leave it open for a Wolf Warriors Part 3 better, because it uses Frank Grillo as the villain. He's very well over the top. The action in this is much better than Atomic Blonde, and along with the plot, it's much more of a straightforward revenge scenario. So I do recommend it along those lines. So again, it is a shaka thumbs up for Wolf Warriors 2. I would say more so definitely at Netflix. See it at home on iTunes. If you're a fan of martial arts, chopsaki movies, 80s action movies, definitely check this movie out. You won't be sorry that you did. But I would say, you know, if you really want to see it at the theater, only spend the $6 at it over at you know, Regal on the Tuesday, or $7 at Consolidated on the Tuesday. It's definitely not worth the full price, you know, the $10, $15, even $20 if you were to see it, you know, at night, you know, for full price. I would go ahead and recommend shock a thumbs up for this movie, yes, but wait till it's at home on Netflix or something like that. The special effects, you know, the Chinese special effects, all the blood gore from all these, you know, fantastic bullet-ridden machine gun scenes where people are being, you know, blown up, flying around, you know, after the grenade goes off, 20 people like jump, you know, it's all that kind of stuff. But remember, it's only, you know, the blood is all CG. You can tell it's CG. There are a couple of clips of the explosions that look CG. You know, some of the set pieces, the tanks, some of the armor for the machine guns nests look a little plasticky, maybe even cardboardish at times. So, you know, it still has that feel. But definitely China is going for a more international perspective to their movies. Now, you know, I've been a fan of foreign movies for quite some time, the Asian movies, martial art movies, etc., and they have always been very ambitious, even way back then with, you know, Bruce Lee going to Rome to film, to, you know, there in the Colosseum, to try to get more of a perspective just outside of China. And this follows suit. This is filmed entirely in Africa. You get to see lions, giraffes, the beautiful scenery of Africa, the coast of Africa, and it involves, you know, African warlords taking over the country, pretty much laying siege, ransacking, you know, the army on the scene there, and pretty much taking over. And Frank Grillo is one of the people in charge of this rebel force taking over the country. And our Chinese hero happens to, you know, be a special operative, a wolf warrior in the People's Liberation Army, and is actually seeking revenge on Frank Grillo because he had killed his wife, or his future wife to be, his fiancée. And finally he finds him there in Africa, and he's going to go ahead and take this guy out. And in the process of doing so, he saves a whole bunch of African native people there. You know, workers working for the Chinese government, saves also some of the workers of the Chinese government against these vicious, low-down, stinking rebels. And so it's, you know, and he actually is able to convince the Chinese government to send in official Chinese troops, press the UN, so that these Chinese troops can come and save the day there in Africa, saving their people and, you know, the African and the Chinese people all together embroiled in one. And make fun of, hey, where's the U.S.? Oh, I saw him on the boat out of town, getting out of the country. So there is a little bit of that. You know, so yes, I do shock a thumbs up, recommend this movie as an action genre film in itself. There was a little bit, being an American, there was a little bit of a hard pill to swallow with the fact that they do make fun of the United States. This is an overall propaganda nationalism movie for, you know, the PRC, the People's Republic of China. So it's not a straight up, you know, Hong Kong non-political kind of movie. It is very much pushing the perspective of China, saying, hey, China is really great. Look at our benevolent military, our benevolent Navy. There's several shots of, you know, their one aircraft carrier, multiple destroyers, the troops flying over to Africa to aid these people. and China leading the UN into action to benefit the people of Africa. So if anyone knows, the Chinese government has, over the past decade, now almost 20 years, pushed for significant, community projects there in Africa. All right, again, this is Trinidad, the Island Man, your Island Man, giving Wolf Warriors 2 a shock of thumbs up. Go ahead and do yourselves a favor and check it out on Netflix or iTunes when it comes out over there. If you enjoy it, you might even want to check out part 1 and look forward to part 3. All right, again, aloha.